Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. You don't know my name's Chat. Take a dive on sports. And welcome to my NFL Week 9 preview and pick video. That's right, it's going to be a little bit early because like I said in my previous my recap video, this is going to be early because I have things planned and I normally try to get this video posted out. I'll also go over the some of the major trades that happened at the NFL trade deadline, and go over a couple trades that happened prior to that. That's going to be a huge factor in a lot of playoff races. But before diving on that, if you could go hit that thumbs up for me, especially like the content provider. Really pleases you two guys. Really help promote this channel out. You can also subscribe. Love you guys review my work. I love you all for doing that. Now maybe you subscribe because you a dime helps me provide more airtime value for you. Now, before I get into my picks and previews and how I did the previous week, I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over some of the transactions that transpired just before the trade deadline and just before, as I'm messing with my piece of paper, which is being very unprofessional of me. Yes, I still use paper, even though I have a computer screen right in front of me. But anyways, some of the big trades, and most of you guys already know some of these already that happened prior to the trade deadline. Like, of course, you all know about Christian McCaffrey going from Carolina to San Francisco. Carolina ended up getting a 2023 second, third, and fourth pick, as well as a 2024 fifth round pick. And Christian McCaffrey has already inserted himself pretty nicely in the second game with the 49ers to really put the 49ers in the conversation. It's possibly one of the teams to watch out for in the NFC this playoff. And then not long after that, Robert Quinn from the Chicago Bears got traded to Philadelphia for a 2023 fourth round pick. The guy that had the most sacks in the season for the Bears last year, not really much of a factor this year. He only gets a fourth round consideration. And then I went on about Roquan Smith's trade. He wasn't happy about Quinn being traded, so he was definitely not emotionally invested in the Bears anymore. You already know what his preseason, he actually sat out because they wouldn't re-sign him, but decided, okay, I'm going to play and bet on myself, kind of do what Lamar Jackson's doing. Well, he got traded to Baltimore for linebacker Klein, a 23rd, second, and fifth round draft picks. So they got a little bit more for Roquan Smith. Getting another linebacker to help out, but their defense is now missing two key aspects. For Chicago, that pretty much means they're not going to do very well. Now, on the day, on the draft trade deadline, there was definitely some interesting trades that did transpire that could really shake the landscape of the NFL, especially when they come towards down the race towards the end of the season. The Minnesota Vikings got themselves a new tight end. Apparently, tight end was a big issue for them this year. Them getting T.J. Hawkinson from Detroit, and also got their 2023 fourth round and a conditional fourth round pick in 2024. They sent Detroit their 2023 second and 2024 third round picks. Chicago actually got involved in the trading as well, as they ended up getting Chase Claypool from Pittsburgh for a 2023 second round draft pick. This is probably to help Justin Fields, give him a playmaker receiver. Mooney has not really stepped up to that role, and no one else in that receiving corps has really helped out Justin Fields much. So maybe adding Claypool will help that out. But he also brings in baggage. The Miami Dolphins, I think, had inserted himself as probably one of the teams to watch out for in the AFC, which they already were anyways, but now they added a key defensive cog in their machine as they traded with the Denver Broncos for linebacker Bradley Chubb. And Miami also got their Denver's 2025 fifth round pick. Denver ended up getting running back Edmonds, a 2023 first and a 2024 fourth round draft picks. Jacksonville kind of made an interesting trade. Traded with Atlanta to get suspended Calvin Ridley. Now, Ridley, when he plays, is an excellent receiver, and Atlanta's already proven they can function without him, so they decided to go ahead and cut him, let him go anyways. And Atlanta would get a 2023 fifth and 2024 conditional fourth-round pick. Kansas City added another receiver, getting Kadarius Toney from the Giants. And the Giants ended up receiving a 2023 third and a sixth-round draft pick. Buffalo decided to add a running back to their mix and then get Nyheim Hines from Indianapolis. Why Indianapolis trying to win running backs, I don't know. This is going to be a little bit of a help out with the Buffalo run game a bit. They ended up sending over running back Moss and the 2023 conditional sixth-round pick to the Colts. Buffalo wasn't done there. Then they didn't get safety Dean Marlowe back to Buffalo for a 2023 seventh. Pittsburgh decided to get into the game as well. They already know they traded away Claypool, but now they add a cornerback from Washington, who was William Jackson III, and also received Washington's 2025 seventh-round pick for the Steelers' 2024 sixth. And cornerback Rashawn Fenton went from Atlanta to Kansas City for a conditional 2023 seventh-round pick. And those are just some of the trades that were out there. There's a couple other ones out there, were kind of some of the minor ones that haven't really, that could not really affect the teams. But I thought some of these were kind of interesting to kind of see how certain teams value certain players. And one name that was brought up to try to trade was Brandon Cooks, the receiver out of Houston. Them and Dallas were in serious talks all the way up to the deadline and could not reach a deal. I think one of the major hurdles was, his salary. He has a huge salary. It's like $18 million, a lot of it guaranteed. I think Dallas wanted Houston to pick up some of that tab. And then draft pick compensation. Dallas didn't want to cough it up what Houston was asking for, so Cook stays in place down there in Houston. So we'll kind of see things pan out. Would that hurt Dallas in the long run? Because the receiving pool right there in Dallas is suspect, to say the least. You got C.D. Lamb. He's proven pretty good, but after that, who's the number two? And Amari Cooper, all of a sudden that trade looks really bad because he's really thriving up there in Cleveland. So, that being said, those were some of the main players being involved with. The Baltimore defense got an upgrade with Roquan Smith. You already know the 49ers offense got an upgrade with McCaffrey. What does Claypool do for Chicago? I don't think much. Maybe add a little security with the Buffalo offense with the aspect of Hines coming in as a running back. So those were some of the trades that happened, and we'll probably see some of these players actually play this weekend. So we'll kind of see how things kind of pan out from there. But let's just go ahead and go over the pick drama I have set in front of me. Last week I went 9-6, and there was one extra game since it's the start of the bye season. So, got some of that aspect. And this week they have more teams off. You have Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, the Giants, Pittsburgh, and San Fran. They all have their byes, so there'll be a lot less games this week. So let's just go ahead and kick this off with Thursday night's action out in H-Town, where the Texans play host to undefeated Philadelphia. And I don't see much of a change right now. Philadelphia's favored by 14. I think Houston might make it a game for a bit until Philadelphia goes, I'm done playing, and decides to show up. And I'm sticking with Philadelphia on this one. Yeah, I'll even take the 14. I think it's not going to be much of a resistance from Houston on this one. And off to Sunday, where now the Miami Dolphins will head to Chicago. Got to see how these trades kind of pan out for these teams. And I think the Chicago Offense is going to continue to struggle because now they have to worry about Bradley Chubb on the linebacker side, again in the backfield and disrupting Justin Fields. If Chicago is able to continue the movement of Justin Fields, incorporate the run with the running backs and him, it could help open up play action to Mooney and Claypool. But that defense is going to kill him because you got to take on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. There's no way you're going to stop those two. Right now, Miami's favored by 5. I think it's a bit low. I really do. Originally, my preseason, I picked Chicago, but the way Chicago's playing right now, no. Miami's going to win. I don't see anything else happening with this one. I think Miami's just going to run away with this game and definitely be more than 5. We'll head out to Atlanta, where the Falcons play host to the Chargers. And both these teams seem similar. Roughly about the same record. I mean, Chargers are 4-3, Atlanta's 4-4. But LA hasn't lived up to the hype. I think Atlanta's kind of doing better than what I think a lot of people kind of expected. LA continues to find ways to lose, same way Atlanta does. Atlanta always seems to have their defense just coughs up right at the end. LA's defense is, I don't know, there's so many different aspects and key things that just kind of float out there that, I'm trying hard to pinpoint where to go at, because Mariota's not that bad of a quarterback. He's actually shown to be pretty good. Justin Herbert is an excellent quarterback. Eckler is fully operational for the Chargers. He's a dual threat as a running back and receiver. The defense should be good, but Khalil Mack's had a few good games so far, and after that, it's kind of waned a bit. Bosa has been kind of a non-factor, almost. Probably because he's there, that allows Mack to get loose. So you get a double-headed monster on the defensive front, but it's just weird how this Atlanta team is just thriving, and they could be like a 6-2 team right now if their defense held up. So with this one, the Chargers right now are favored by 3. I'm going with the home team. I'm taking the Falcons in this one. I think it will be that close. I think it's just going to be a mistake that swings the game in the wrong direction. Normally it's Atlanta, but both teams are prone to those type of scenarios. But I'm going to say Atlanta will be the beneficiary of a mistake and end up winning by 3. Then we'll head up to the jungle of Cincinnati, where it'll be a cat fight between the Panthers and the Bengals. Right now, the Bengals looked horrible on Halloween against the Browns. Burrow couldn't spend more time on the ground. Definitely missing Jamar Chase, even though Higgins, big target, big muscular receiver that has actually forcing a lot of things go his way. But Carolina is one of those sneaky little teams that loves to hang around. Pesky, they took it to Tom Brady. And with that poor offensive line, I think they'll have the same effect in Cincinnati. So Burrow's going to find themselves running around a bit. And right now, Cincinnati is favored by 7.5. I think it's a bit high. Way too high. I'm going Carolina. I will take the Panthers in this one. I think their defense has shown that they can be pretty good. The P.J. Walker and has proven to be a very good quarterback. He's developed a connection with DJ Moore. It's just a phenomenal punch right there. They're battling above their weight class because they got rid of McCaffrey, they got rid of their head coach, and they're actually still playing ball, and they're trying to fight and stay in games. I think these win these games, they're able to stay in there, and I can see they can go into Cincinnati, take the catnip toys away, and end up sneaking out with a victory. Then Green Bay will head to Detroit, and which team is going to stop their slide? It's It's going pretty bad for both of them right now. Detroit, I expected a lot more wins from at this point in time this season. They just can't seem to get out of their own way. Every time they have a chance to win games, the defense blows it. When the defense steps up, the offense can't, hang on to the ball. It's something with this Detroit Lion team that just always frustrates you, especially if you're a Lions fan, which I am not, obviously. When they got Aaron Rodgers, who loves playing against the Lions, as much as he loves playing against the Bears. So it's just one of these things that I think that if, Green Bay went after no one in the trade by the trade deadline, so they got no receiving help. I mean, they may try to get Odell Beckham once he becomes healthy. They head up to Green Bay. I highly doubt it because, cold weather and bad knees don't work. But with this one, I am going to go with Green Bay because right now Green Bay's favored by 3.5. I think it might be a little bit more, but like I said, Green Bay loves playing against Detroit. But Detroit does play Green Bay pretty tight. So I think it will definitely be interesting to see this game. But I think Green Bay is going to find a way to snap their losing streak, continue the Motor City Kitties bag kitty impression, and walk away from Motown with a W. Then we head out to Foxborough where the Patriots playing host to the Colts. And the Colts just fired their offensive coordinator. The Colts franchise right now is in disarray. They don't know how, spend his money on Matt Ryan. They benched him, fired their OC. It wasn't OC's fault. It was the defensive coordinator allowed the Washington to that big win towards the end, that big drive that set up the game-winning touchdown at the end of the game. But of course, not putting up more than 16 points also kind of hampers. So, okay. But they made no. They swapped running backs with Buffalo, and that's basically about all they did to address the issues. And I think the issues with Indianapolis is the offensive line. The offensive line's not playing up to par, which is not creating the lanes to allow Taylor to make runs, which would then help the quarterback because now defenses will have to worry about the running attack. The running attack is pretty much non-existent. Receivers are not. They can't get open, so that means whoever the quarterback is, getting sacked, getting chased around. I mean, it's a whole bad situation right now in Indianapolis. And then we head to Foxborough where Mac Jones is back to his original form. They performed well against against the Jets last week. And I think this is going to be another big win for the Patriots. They'll be able to handle Indianapolis quite easily. Right now, New England's favored by 5.5. I think it's going to probably be around that point spread. I think Indianapolis will at least make it interesting, but New England is going to be too much for them. Now we head down to New York with the Jets will play host to the Bills and the Bills Mafia in a key clash in the AFC East. Then the Bills added Hines as a backup to Singletary to give him a nice 1-2 punch in the backfield to kind of help maybe facilitate a little, more aggressive running attack. And you still got Stephon Diggs being the bad mamma jamma he is as a receiver. And, of course, Josh Allen, who's also a running back / quarterback. So it's like that. And then Buffalo, like I said, they made some changes on the defensive side, bringing back Marlowe back to the secondary, which should help them out. And we'll kind of see what aspects this will play for the Jets. The Jets didn't get any running backs. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 13. I think it's going to be just a lopsided game. Pressure Zach Wilson enough, he will throw picks for you. He'll give you back the ball. It's been proven already. In his previous 2 games, he's had 5 interceptions. And those are the 2 games he lost. That's because they don't have a running attack. And since the Jets have a running attack, you can concentrate on Jack Wilson. And there you go. The Jets' offense has been dismantled. But yeah, Buffalo winning big. Head to D.C., where the Commanders play host to Minnesota in the return of Kirk Cousins. In case not many of you know, Kirk Cousins was drafted by the Commanders. The same time frame they drafted RG3, which is kind of weird drafting 2 quarterbacks like that. So he gets to go back there and kind of take this 3-headed monster he has right there with Cook and Jefferson. And not to mention now he has Hawkinson as a tight end, so he has another receiver to kind of go after. And it's just, I think it's going to be too much for Washington. Washington defense should be decent enough to kind of hold them at bay for a little bit. But after a while, it's just going to be too much. And it's going to be Minnesota. Right now, Minnesota's favored by 3.5. I expect that to go up. I do think Minnesota's going to probably win at least by 6. But that's been kind of Minnesota's stick this year, not winning big. And that's part of why I don't have a lot of fans across the country outside of Skull Nation. So, but yeah, I think Minnesota's going to be too much for Washington. Head out to Jacksonville, where the Raiders will come to town and take on the Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. And these are right now 2 teams that had so much going for them. Las Vegas on paper should be a lot better than this. Their record should be 5-2. They have not produced anything. Getting shut out in New Orleans should be a wake up call for them. Jacksonville the past 2 weeks should have had game-winning drives. Both of them failed to do that. One being short of the end zone, one got intercepted. So it's going to be a learning curve. I think Trevor Lawrence has a very high ceiling. Doug Peterson should have everything in place. Maybe next year when they have Calvin Ridley now as a starter at receiver, maybe that will help them out later on. But I am going to go with Jacksonville in this one. Right now, Vegas is favored by 1.5. And they still live Las Vegas, even though they can never produce. But I will take Jacksonville at home. And then the Battle of the Feathers out there in the desert, where you have the Arizona Cardinals playing host to the Seattle Seahawks. And right now the Seahawks are flying higher than the Cardinals. And the Cardinals right now are just sitting on the saguaro cactuses or cacti and just looking around going, yeah, that's kind of warm. And everything right now in Seattle is just coming up. Pete Carroll's having the time of his life right now, going back to the days of, they started the Legion of Boom and the whole aspect they had going up there, the Super Bowl runs. It looks like that's what they're kind of doing here with this group of individuals. I think Geno Smith is not his idea of a franchise quarterback, but he's definitely his quarterback right meow. He has finally arrived after his tenure with the Jets and then quite pan out, bounced around, was under Russ for a year before Russ decided to take the higher money and the higher altitude. And these are the expectations. I mean, now you have a nice, another good running back up there in Seattle and Walker. Many might know came out of Michigan State. Penny, when he's healthy, is another good running back. You got 2 outstanding receivers in Lockett and Metcalf. Defense is starting to kind of move in the right direction, but now you got to take on Arizona, Kyler Murphy and DeAndre Hopkins, and they're back together again. So there, that pairing was real help vitalize that offense, especially Zach Ertz as your tight end, gives you another good receiver. J.J. Watt, not quite the same as he once was, but still a force to reckon with on that defensive line. Right now, Arizona's favored by 2, and I agree with that assessment. I am also going with the Redbirds. I'm seeing red. And I think the Cardinals will end up sneaking one out against the Seahawks. Then we have to Tampa Bay, where the Buccaneers play host to the Rams. And boy, oh boy, who do you pick in this mess of a game? These are 2 teams that are right now going the wrong direction. Both of them only have 3 wins in the season. The Rams 3-4, Tampa Bay's 3-5. There's a possibility of Cup being injured right now for the Rams, which kind of makes things kind of hamper. They've had issues with the running back. The quarterback play has been subpar. And Then you could kind of say the same thing about Tampa Bay. They've had their receivers injured and out with Godwin and Julio Jones. The running back's not doing much because the offensive line's not holding up, so Tom Brady's out of whack. Tom Brady's off the field issues affecting him on the field. And the defenses are just not living up to the hype. Injuries on Tampa Bay's defense has allowed them to be decimated. I mean, it's just a mess all around of who going to come out of this one unscathed. I mean, it's hard to really kind of go with this one because right now it's the line is Tampa Bay by 3. Who do I go with? Do I go with Old Faithful and Tom Brady? Well, he's not the Tom Brady of old. His mind's not in the game. And it's obvious. When you have personal issues affecting you, it's kind of hard to concentrate on things. I know. So Tom Brady's not Tom Brady right now. But then if you look at the Rams, they're not being what the Rams were last year. And I don't know what Sean McVay can do is kind of rectify that situation. But I am going to go with the Rams on this one. I think it's going to be the Rams defense that has to step up and make a name for themselves. I mean, we got Aaron Donald, arguably one of the greatest offensive linemen of the NFL. And not the best, but he's definitely up in that conversation there. And then Bobby Wagner, if he can actually kind of tap that fountain of youth that's found in Tampa Bay. Maybe he actually aspire to do some things, but I think if the Rams get that interior pressure inside, disrupt Tom Brady, that's going to be enough to allow the Rams hopefully get their offense going just enough to get enough points on the board. And it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be like a 2-point victory by the Rams, but I will go with the Rams in this game of disappointed franchises right now. Then we head off to Kansas City, where the Chiefs will play host to the Titans, and this one's going to be very unique. Because if Derrick Henry maintains his form like he did last week against Houston, this will be a game. It'll just come down to, okay, which offense will make the least amount of mistakes. And I would go more with Kansas City making least amount of mistakes because you have to worry about, okay, who's going to be quarterback for the Titans? Is it going to be Malik Willis or Ryan Tannehill? Willis didn't do much of anything last week. He just handed the ball off. So he wasn't really tested. But there's no receivers really for Tennessee that really threatens the vertical attack by the Titans. That aspect, I think Kansas City right now, Patrick Mahomes is finding ways to get each receiver in there. No one's really excelling too much, except for maybe Kelsey, because it's Kelsey. Kansas City's favored by 12.5. I'm a little pessimistic when it comes to that one. I think it's going to be at least a 10-point victory. I think just because of Derrick Henry, and if he has another 200-yard rushing game, it'll definitely be a close game. But I will also go with Kansas City winning at home. And then Monday Night Football down there in New Orleans, where the Saints will play host to their Baltimore Ravens. By this time frame, Roquan Smith should be fully integrated in that defense. And I think that's one of the key things that's really hampering Baltimore right now is their game. They cannot hold on to the lead in the fourth quarter. They earlier in the season they were coughing up games. Now lately they've been kind of battling the fourth quarter and coming up on top. New Orleans defense came alive last week and shut down Vegas. You're not going to have the same aspect against Lamar Jackson. And he's a little more slippery than Derek Carr. So Baltimore's going to score. I think it's going to be a defensive showdown between the two. It really depends on which version of Andy Dalton shows up for the Saints. Is it the one that went after Arizona through 2 pick sixes, which totally changed the aspect of the game? Even though he still had fantastic stats, except for those 2 pick sixes. And his 3 interceptions overall that game, but he still had over 300 yards passing. So Andy Dalton can still throw the rock. He just can't always throw it to his own teammates. which is the same problem with Jameis Winston. So that's the problem with New Orleans right now is the quarterback, even though they may have great arms and great stats, but they always seem to throw to the wrong team. So we got to see what happens there. But with Baltimore, the fact that they get a running back, I think, is kind of bad as well. They need to get some additional help for Lamar Jackson back there. Getting Roquan Smith is good for the defense, which gives them a leg up in that aspect because Roquan Smith is an animal. He goes from one good linebacker franchise to another good linebacker franchise, so I don't think he'd be happy out there in Baltimore. And I'm also going to go with Baltimore in this game. I think it's just too many weapons on Baltimore against New Orleans. I think that gives Baltimore the edge. I think it will be close because of the defensive showdown between the two. I think what's going to come down there is defenses. And which offense do I trust more? I trust more Baltimore's than I do New Orleans. And I think the defenses are almost equal. I'll give a little edge to Baltimore on that one. That's why I'm going with the Ravens. Well, there you go. Those are my picks. Just let me know down below which game you're looking forward to this weekend, which pick you think I'm completely crazy on, which trade were you more shocked with that did or did not happen, and was your team successful in picking up necessary weapons to help them for this season, possibly, or preparing for future seasons, pretty much like what Chicago did. But anyways, like I said, let me know down below. Once you're down there, make sure you hit that thumbs up once again. You can also share this video. Make sure to share this with your friends and family. It really helps promote this video out. And once you subscribe, make sure you click that bell to get notified next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.